Jonathan, you have long been on record saying Trump's not your guy. Is Hillary?
Unfortunately, she is, Neil, and I'm sorry to see so many capitalists like Jack Welch fall in line behind Trump, because I think they're going to give capitalists like Jack Welch a terrible name. You know, Neil, I'd like to think that Donald Trump is a capitalist alternative to Hillary's socialism, but he's not. On issue after issue, he's explicitly anti-capitalist. So, I'd rather blame Hillary when the economy collapses for her socialism than have to defend Trump when his economy collapses because of his.
She's for raising them.
Neil, he's against American exceptionalism. That's not my estimate. That's what he said proudly on TV interviews not too long ago.
I thought he said he wants to make America great again.
He's for trade tariffs, Neil. So, I mean, this is nothing that anyone who believes in America can get behind.
Okay, I hear it. So, Carl, that is something that bothers a lot of conservatives. The tariff thing, the promising 35% tariff tax on cars that Ford makes in Mexico and tries to sell them here. And they say that starts some bad stuff. You say what?
He say, a lot of people say it can, but the fact of the matter is he's trying to level the playing field. We have an $800 billion trade deficit, so why shouldn't America be making out on all these things too? The other countries have been making out for years under it. And to people's point, who say that that I can't vote for Donald Trump because he's not a capitalist. I mean, the guy has built a multi-billion-dollar industry, tens of thousands of jobs. You're voting for socialism or capitalism in this industry, one or the other.
So did Warren. I mean, so did Warren Buffett. But I assume you're not kind of going out for Warren Buffett. I think that's the real danger here. Once again, Neil, Donald Trump, to most people, represents capitalism. But how could a capitalist, how could you vote for someone who wants to call up the head of Ford Motor Company, Neil, and threaten him for simply trying to do business, who likens trade to rape? This is what Donald Trump is about. And I tell you, I think it's more dangerous long-term to this country than Hillary.
Keeping jobs in America. He's trying to incentivize people to work here in America, keep our manufacturing in America.
But what is your thing about it? I know what you're saying about keeping jobs in America and all, but part of capitalism is recognizing globally the world is your oyster, and that you can't be so territorial about it if it still helps those companies and their domestic operations here to be everywhere around the globe.
Right, but some of the other things he's proposing are capitalistic, too, is where he's saying he's going to lower the corporate tax rate, lower the tax rate for people to bring their money back into America. That's why these people are leaving, because we have a 39% corporate tax rate, and they can't keep their money here because it costs too much.
That alone separates him from Hillary Clinton, though, doesn't it, Jonathan?
Well, Neil, I'd like to believe. I mean, listen, you want me to support Donald Trump. It's like, which Donald Trump to support? Because we know that he changes his perspectives on every issue again and again and again. I just think the damage here, Neil, is real long-term to this country. Capitalism, the only thing that can save it. And Trump compromises the moral principle. I think that's what the real danger here is. I mean, Donald Trump is not for capitalism. Now, he might advocate it if it suits him for the moment. But this is a man, again, who likens trade to rape. And this whole notion that he wants to bring back jobs. I mean, how does that differ at all from the Democrats who say they want to create green energy jobs? It's just a different form of a controlled economy, and Donald Trump is just a different form of collectivism.
Donald Trump wants private sector jobs.
Socialism.
Donald Trump wants private sector jobs. This green energy stuff is all federally subsidized with money we don't have.
Carl, do you ever worry, though, that you don't know quite what you're getting with Donald Trump? Because the positions change. Obviously, everyone evolves. I understand that on the left and the right. But he had a tax plan that back during the primaries was a 25% tax rate, now a 33% top tax rate. Still below where we are now, but still changing. And that some people feel you can't put stock in that because his stock, his views will change.
Yeah, well, I think Donald Trump has changed a couple things, and that, everybody changes here and there. But the fact of the matter is we're dealing with a guy who hasn't had a 30-year political career. He's a guy that's learning as he goes, and sometimes, unfortunately, but for the most part, I think he's on a level playing field now. He understands what he can and can't do, and he understands what needs to be done.
Can I just make the point, Neil? I mean, it's not that he's just willing to change on small details. He's willing to change on the basic moral principles. I think that, I mean, you're talking about Trump changing his tax plan. A decade ago, he wanted a one-time wealth tax on the super rich to pay for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So this is a man with pragmatism. I was sorry to hear Jack Welch talk about his affinity for pragmatism. That means anything goes, principles aside. It's a very dangerous precedent for this country.
All right, guys, you argue your points very eloquently. I want to thank you both.